I'm Robin Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
We're on your radio once a week with the leading authorities in the restaurant business, talking about subjects trending in this industry. Tweet your own questions on the topic while we're on the air to our Twitter handle. You know it, it's at Sell Restaurants. Post to our Facebook page. We're facebook.com/We Sell Restaurants. If we don't get to your question, we'll definitely follow up on our social media channels.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have any ideas or any comments for the show, you can always email me. I'm always available to hear from you. My email is Eric, E-R-I-C, at WeSellRestaurants.com.
Today, we're talking about French cuisine. That's right. Ever since Julia Child went to Paris and authored her classic debut cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, in the 1960s, those of us in the States have delighted in the tastes, smells, and delights of French cuisine. While French cooking used to only take place in upscale restaurants, we are now seeing fast casual concepts deliver the food our palates have come to love. French cuisine is taking center stage with operators who make French food and a little Parisian culture even more accessible to the American audience.
Our first guest today is our mother and daughter team, Christine Taylor and Gwen Denninghoff, who launched their business, Metro Creperie, in Atlanta just this past January. Gwen Denninghoff attended SCAD, which is Savannah College of Art and Design, where she obtained her BFA in production design, which came very handy when it was time to design and build out Metro Creperie. While at SCAD, she also worked at Paula Deen's restaurant, The Lady and the Sons, which gave her an opportunity to see firsthand how lucrative the restaurant industry can be. She loves food, traveling, and her family as well. She is married to Logan Denninghoff, an Atlanta-based actor and henchman to her business. Gwen, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
And our second guest is co-owner of Metro Creperie, Christine Taylor. Thank you as well.
Thank you.
Also joining us is Georgia Gronefeld, the operating manager and head chef at Amelie's French Bakery. Amelie's is a neighborhood bakery with an intoxicating Parisian shabby chic ambiance. It has been described by one customer as a perfectly non-judgmental social utopia. The bakery started in Charlotte, North Carolina's Arts District and has spread to a second location in Charlotte, another in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and just recently, Amelie's Atlanta. Georgia has been with Amelie's for the past 7 years after studying baking and pastry arts at Johnson & Wales University. Georgia, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much for having me.
This is going to be an exciting show. We have some great people. And, Julia Child said her first meal in Hawaiian was a culinary revolution that she described to the New York Times as an opening up of the soul and spirit for her. She later attended the Cordon Bleu and is credited with bringing this amazing cuisine to the States. Why do you guys believe that French cuisine strikes such a chord with each of us, and how have you tried to capture the essential French spirit in each of your restaurants? Georgia, let's start with you.
Well, I believe that French food is so delicious because, it starts with really basic ingredients and just builds to such great things. My background is in pastry, so obviously working with butter and cream and everything as fresh as possible, and you can just make so much great product out of just a few great ingredients.
And then those ingredients actually sound delicious. Everybody who's not in favor of butter, and maybe Gwen, you want to weigh in on that because you worked at a restaurant where a lady's famous for her butter, Paula Deen's restaurant.
Yeah, I think butter is kind of the cornerstone of a lot of dishes. So it makes everything smooth and creamy, and it tastes so good. So I think that's why people have trouble, doing low-fat diets, because you're missing that cornerstone. So it's definitely, I think it's a big part of French cuisine, don't you, Mom?
Yes, I do.
So we have, and Gwen just said, Mom, I just want to remind our audience, we have a mother and daughter team who are owners of Metro Creperie, which is very exciting. And I want to follow up, but because your creperie sells both sweet and savory crepes, so you do these delicious looking original toppings. So how did you come up with the idea to build an entire restaurant just around that very French idea of just crepes?
We tried to do something gluten-free because I've been gluten-free for 11 years already, and we just saw there is a big need for gluten-free foods. And if you go to a restaurant, you have to skip a lot what goes into the food, so it often is bland and the selection is small. And we tried gnocchi and all kinds of dishes and finally came up with the crepes. We figured that's a dish you can be very creative with and add a lot of good ingredients.
I love that idea. And so you're not focused on a single item, right, Georgia? You guys have a little bit of everything at Amelie's. Is it both sweet and savory? Tell us a little about the menu.
Yes, we do. We have 3 full pastry cases full of some great tarts and chocolate layer torts and a really nice array there on the pastry side. And then we also have soups and sandwiches that we make all the components in-house, and everything is made here. And then we also have a really great coffee selection, too, that we've created for Amelie's. And we work with a couple of different local roasters as well on that. So we have a nice selection of things that you can come in and choose from. So if it's lunch or dinner or even, just coming in for some pastries, we've definitely got all of that for you.
But it's very, you guys focus primarily on all the basic French stuff. You don't really sway out of that. I mean, you come in there, you're going to have your jambon fromage and the basic cheeses and things like that, and quiches and different, you stick true to the core. Is that true for both of you? Let's start with you, Gwen.
Somewhat. I think the concept of crepes in the neighborhood that we're located in is foreign to some people in every sense. So we've kind of had to find a way to sell it to people and get them to try it. So we've actually incorporated some southern elements like pimento cheese or a peach apricot jam into some of our dishes, and that has helped to kind of sell the idea. And people come back. I mean, they love that kind of stuff. So it's been interesting because we've kind of had to reimagine the classic French, crepe. So
that's very interesting. How about you, Georgia? Did you have to, quote unquote, southernize a little bit of your menu to cater to the folks in North Carolina and Georgia?
I think we like to pull in a couple of different things too to make it maybe a little bit more accessible. But I think that's kind of the fun, to get people to come in and try new things too. So, maybe they weren't as interested in passion fruit, but once you try it, it's delicious. So just kind of opening people's perspectives on things has been fun to see with the customers too.
That's, I think that leads into my next question, because I was going to ask who the customer is for your restaurants. Is it this kind of experimental person or a truly mainstream customer who has a love for all types of food? Because what I find very intriguing about both of your concepts is it is very, very accessible and it's not expensive, because I think early on in French cuisine history, especially here in the U.S., we saw this as a white tablecloth, upscale type of a thing. And now I see both of your concepts as just so fun and easy to eat. Christine, what do you think?
I think with the foods we prepare, the customers we have, they come from very different backgrounds, and we sometimes have to talk them into it a little bit, but many are very happy after they ate the crepe, and they, like Georgia said, once they try something new, they are very excited about it. They will come back, and it's just a matter of people getting to know, that we're there, and having, the desire to try something new. And we see that more and more.
And bring a good point I want to ask both of you. You guys are fairly new in the Atlanta market, and talking about being discovered and everything. What have been some of the challenges or things that you underestimated as far as hey, if we open it, they will come? We as restaurant brokers, we talk to a lot of operators, and they think their food is so good, all they have to do is put the open sign and the lines will come out the door. And the reality is, I'm sure you guys... people are starting to smile here in the studio, that it's not quite that easy. So can you share maybe a couple of war stories on how, you guys open up and, suddenly, whoa, we got to do something else about that? Christine, you care to start with that? Or Gwen, did either one of you?
Sure. Well, we opened in January, and we're located at the historic Sweet Auburn Curb Market, which I think is actually one of the first hurdles that we didn't quite realize was going to be a hurdle. We thought, oh, look, this market, it's been around forever. You know, it's almost 100 years old now, and surely there is a large built-in clientele. Not the case. It used to be a bustling market, and it's coming back, but it's been kind of an uphill battle trying to educate people about where we are. Do you know where the Sweet Auburn Curb Market is? No, what's that? Well, it's a historic market, It's next to Grady Hospital. So then you start to, oh, okay, I know where Grady Hospital is. So I think that's been one of the first hurdles. Opening up in the winter was interesting. I mean, we were, all ready to go, and we set everything up. We were so excited, and we had one customer the first day. So it's definitely grown from that, and we have not had that happen since. But it's just, I guess you just kind of go in with a certain mindset, and then it doesn't ever probably pan out the way you think it's going to. So it's a learning curve, but it's been fun and it's been interesting.
I love that, Georgia.
That's a great story, yeah. Georgia, how about you? Do you have a war story similar, or is it different for Amelie's?
Well, we just opened in June, so it's definitely been, we're still in our opening stages, so we're right behind Georgia Tech in a nice growing area, and there's a lot of restaurants that are opening up in that area, and it has been a lot of fun and a lot of labor of love, kind of jumping into everything, just with getting everything going. But we've had a really great response from the community and having people from the neighborhood come and check us out. And even some of the students have, since they've gotten back in school, coming over, and a lot of local businesses too. So that has been great, and we love social media, so getting everything on social media has been really important for us to try and grow and let people know we're here,
Well, and I want to follow up on that because La Metro Creperie is located in a densely populated area in downtown. Amelie is also downtown. Did both of you choose sort of these urban venues because of the potential client base? Do you think a concept like yours, which centers around French food, would work as well in the suburbs, or is this city cuisine, Christine?
I think we could probably move to the suburbs too once we have a name, and people come from farther away as time goes on, and I guess for them it's an adventure to go shopping in other places. They show up, and like students come a lot now since they started back to school, of course, the hospital, and a lot of people that come in, like during their working hours, they will bring their better half or whatever, or their kids, and we see this more and more too. So I think, other areas would definitely work as well.
Okay, now Amelie's, is it only in kind of downtown metro areas, or Georgia, or is it also in some of those locations in North Carolina, more outside the urban concentration?
Well, we have one location in uptown Charlotte, and then our main store is in the Arts District, a little bit outside of town. So it's definitely something that people have to drive to and know about. So I feel like that, she was saying, that it's a destination. It's something new. It's something interesting to come see, and I think that customers really enjoy that. And Atlanta's great. People come from all over, and I don't think people are too afraid of going to a new place or trying something new. So it's been great here in Atlanta, I think.
And speaking of that, the message, like Robin talked about earlier, French food's always been something, where you think of servers and, bow ties and very formal and the nice white apron. And, of course, your concept are a lot more casual and fun than this. But how do you go about, messaging? I mean, between the social media and even educating customers, how do you tell them, hey, this is fun food. It's French fun food. It's not, you're fancy. This is not something for an event. It's something you can do every day. It's something you can do for a quick lunch, a breakfast, a snack late in the evening or something. How do you guys go about educating people? What kind of messaging do you guys do? Gwen, you care to start?
Well, for a while we were kind of trying to figure out a clever way to tell people what a crepe was if they weren't aware of what it was. So now we either preface it with, well, in New Orleans this is really popular, or my new favorite is it's basically like a French quesadilla. So most everyone is familiar with a quesadilla, I think. And
now the Southerners, they get that quesadilla.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I think that has helped, and I think social media, Instagram and Facebook, doing little raffles for a giveaway every once in a while, something like that. People like getting something free. People like winning something. So just kind of updating that on a regular basis and keeping people in the loop has definitely helped to drum up business.
Georgia?
Well, our decor is a lot more fun, too, so it's not as traditional as you were saying about the white tablecloth and everything. So I think when people come into the store, they're able to see, like, this is fun, this is relaxed. We have free Wi-Fi, and people can just come and hang out. We have nice couches, and we want the customer to feel like they can come in and hang out. So I think that's what we do, and then the food also goes along with that. So it's very accessible, and I think the first time you step into Amelie's, you would see that and know that. So
I would agree, because we have been there, and I love this sort of shabby chic thing that you have going on. And even though it's a large space, every time you turn around, it feels like there's a little tiny vignette that feels like a piece of Paris in the corner. And I think that's really lovely. Now, let me ask both of you this. Do you only offer cuisine, or are you expanding into offering any cooking classes? Because we called on the ghost of Julia Childs to kick us off here. Either group doing any cooking classes? Did I read that about Amelie's, Georgia?
Yes, we do offer cooking classes at our stores in Charlotte, and we're still in construction, and we're going to be opening up a second portion of the restaurant, and we hope to be able to offer some cooking classes or even some event spaces and stuff like that to be able to offer some demonstrations and things. But it's definitely something that we offer in Charlotte and would like to continue doing here in Atlanta. We've done some really great ones with introduction to, like, icing cakes or baking cakes, and we do a cookie class at Christmas time, or some nice dinner options as well. So it's a lot of fun for people to come, bring significant others, or do it for a party and bring some friends, and it's a great way to, just get to know other people and who love food and French food. It's a great time.
And Christine, do you guys do anything special to outside the box a little bit at your place?
Not at the moment. I think our place is too small for that.
Okay.
But, it's definitely something we were talking about, and that we'll consider down the road.
Right, but folks really do kind of get to participate a little bit differently in your experience, because you will make the crepe with whatever they want, and you have really amazing different toppings, right? So they can just kind of almost create their own.
They can create their own. We also have some we offer that are already put together, so they can always watch how we make them. It's all fresh, and a lot is organic. A lot is from around here too, and we would like to, have the customers more involved if possible. But
so that's an interesting piece of the business these days, is that it's more than just come, sit down, order. It's really kind of drawing that customer in, first with social media, and then once they're there, really engaging with them, either classes or having them engage and participate in, this is my crepe. No one else is going to have one like this, because I want this kind of unusual sorts of things I'll pull together. But that's an intriguing turn on the business that, 10, 15 years ago, you went in, sat down, and now things are really customized and engaged with that customer.
Now, they see the crepe being made while they're seated or something or around?
Yes.
See, that's interesting, because, if you remember the old French days, the kitchens would be hidden. They even, they put a big cover over your plate, and you would put your plate down, and voila, the food was like, was a surprise. And now people don't want that anymore. They really want to see what's going on back there, and that's what you're doing. And how about Georgia? Amelie, can you see a little bit of a peek of what you guys doing, or this is so secret because it's such a pastry techniques that nobody can see it.
No, definitely. As soon as you walk in, we have kind of a more open kitchen model. So the front portion where we roll all of our tart shells and do all of our finishing work with cakes and torts and, getting everything ready for food for it to be sent out to customers is all right there to view. So it's fun to be able to come in and see kind of what's going on, what tarts are being made, and that way customers get a chance to kind of see into that a little bit.
So do you make everything from scratch in each location, or do you have a commissary and some of the things are made for all the stores to ensure consistency at Amelie's?
Some things are at a commissary kitchen if it's a bigger product that needs to be going out, but as this is our only location here in Atlanta, so everything here is made right in front of us, in the store.
Right.
So you definitely get a chance to see every little piece of it working.
So I want to ask you a question, both Gwen and then maybe Georgia. We may have to come back to this after our break, but do you think is French cuisine more difficult than other types of cuisine to accomplish? Did it extend your training time, and does it take longer to get kind of your staff on board and your prep time together than something more basic? What do you think, Gwen?
It probably seems slightly more daunting than like flipping a burger, but in the end, I don't think it is. I think it's a research thing. I think it's just knowing what you're doing going into it, and the hardest part is just coming up with a few recipes. I mean, we have our own flour mix because we're gluten-free, so that was definitely trial and error. That took a while to kind of get it to taste right. But teaching that to people has not been hard. I think people get it pretty quickly and they enjoy doing it. So I think that's a big part of the battle, is just if people are having fun, then it's much easier for people to learn. So throwing a crepe is not, it's nothing horrible. So I think people have had a really good time, and it's been easy for people to learn, and it's been easy for people to teach other employees as we bring more people on board. So
love this discussion. There's so much. We're going to keep talking about French cuisine. Ooh la la, this is just fabulous. We have Christine Taylor and Georgia Gronefeld along with Gwen Denninghoff here, and we're talking about Amelie's and Metro Creperie. This is Eric and Robin Gagnon from We Sell Restaurants. Remember, you can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com. Take a moment and like us on our Facebook page at Facebook.com/We Sell Restaurants. Follow us on Twitter. We're at Sell Restaurants, and of course, we're on LinkedIn as well. Stay tuned. We'll be back after the break to talk more about French cuisine with some stars in the industry.